Hello, my name is Ben Foreman, and this is Windows 8 Project Number 2 for NOS 11090, Operating System Concepts. I'm going to look at the Windows 8 start screen and a couple of the built-in apps, the Netflix app and the Weather app. On August 1st, 2012, Microsoft released the newest version of its Windows operating system, Windows 8. This version of Windows is a huge departure from earlier versions. The look, feel, and functionality are all very different. Everything down to the logo has changed. As Don Draper, everyone's favorite ad man from AMC's Mad Men, tells us, change is neither good or bad. It simply is. I agree with that quote, but I've also been conditioned by previous Microsoft improvements like Plug and Pray and the infamous Windows Vista to be a bit apprehensive when I see them throwing something new my way. The aspect of Windows 8 that I'll look at more closely is the start screen. Is it a killer app or a bunch of crap? Another new feature is the use of built-in apps, which are essentially a collection of simple programs that are targeted toward a specific task or function. I'll focus on the Weather app and the Netflix app. The apps mesh well with the start screen and may be its saving grace. You'll form your own conclusions, I'm sure. Here are mine. When logging on to Windows 8, the first and biggest change you'll notice is the start screen. Gone are the days when you went directly to the desktop and saw your collection of shortcuts and file folders. The desktop is now accessible through one of many icons, also called tiles, that make up the start screen. Each tile is a gateway to a different app, program, or function. Many of the tiles are actually widgets. Widgets are tiles that dynamically cycle through information related to that specific app. Today's headlines on the news tile, exotic locales on the travel tile, what's trending on the Bing tile. If you're a smartphone user, this interface will look very familiar. The interface will probably feel more natural and be most useful for people using touchscreen devices, and a lot of Windows PC manufacturers are moving in that direction. One of its original development goals was to compete with Apple and Android devices, and it does a good job at that. Seeing the desktop as one part of a much larger picture is a big shift, but not necessarily a bad one. The start screen opens up a lot of space for future functionality and incorporates some of my favorite aspects from my Android smartphone. It's not all upside, though. A Bing search for Windows 8 start screen turns up about as many negative results as positive. You'll see link after link describing how to bypass or disable the start screen. You'll see people pleading for help dealing with the new functionality, and more than a couple of third-party apps developed just to restore some of the practical features of Windows 7. That brings me to my biggest gripe with Windows 8, and the start screen in particular. Practical functionality. I use my computer as a tool, not as a toy. I have nothing against flashy features and slick widgets, but I don't want to sacrifice ease of use and efficacy to get them. One thing the start screen supposedly improves by replacing is the desktop start button. That means no more start button. This is my biggest problem with Windows 8. I used to use the start button all the time, and after several months using Windows 8, I still haven't adapted. I don't want to be the old dog who can't learn the new tricks, but I may end up installing one of the third-party apps just to bring back the start button. I like the start screen, but as a replacement for the desktop start button, it falls short. Netflix is one of my absolute favorite apps ever, a real game changer. It's hard to remember what life was like before it. Netflix has allowed me to save tons of money by replacing my huge cable bill with a tiny $8 a month charge. I still can't believe all the content I get for such a small amount. Netflix provides streaming access to hundreds of movies, television shows, documentaries, even TED Talks. Every time I buy a new computer, it comes preloaded with lots of stuff I don't want to use and don't want to waste the time uninstalling. Not so with Netflix. I was actually excited when I saw the Netflix tile on my start screen, ready to go. Every once in a while, a truly great app comes along that makes you feel like you can't live without it. For me, Netflix is definitely one of those apps. When it comes to practical information that's useful to everyone every day, what's better than the weather report? Windows 8 start screen comes with a weather widget that shows you the current temperature, cloud cover, and the high and low temperature for today. When you click on the tile, it takes you to a very detailed weather forecast provided by Bing Weather. The stats provided include 5-day forecast, an hourly forecast for today, links to a dozen weather maps, and an interactive historical weather feature that shows you the trends for temperature, rainfall, and snowfall. Everything is based on your current location, which is updated dynamically. The weather app provides accurate, useful information fast. Of all the tiles on the start screen, it's the one that I click on more than any other. It's a great tool. I've got a long history with Microsoft operating systems. I've been using them ever since I upgraded from Commodore. All of them have their pros and their cons. All in all, Windows 7 is my favorite. It's reliable, practical, easy to use, and hard to improve upon. Change is a constant, especially in the world of technology, and this time, change has brought us Windows 8. It's a good operating system. With a little tweaking, it can be a great operating system. The start screen looks great and creates a new interface that makes certain things easier to find and use, but it's a poor replacement for the desktop start button. I love the new apps, especially Netflix and Weather. They work great with the start screen and make it a useful addition. If Microsoft can listen to its users and unite the best parts of Windows 7 with the best parts of Windows 8, they'll have a terrific product that can stand alone without third-party improvements. Windows 8.1 can't be far away. Hopefully, Mr. Gates can make my wish come true before Christmas. Again, this is Ben Foreman, and this is my Windows 8 project number 2 for NOS 11090. With any questions or comments, please contact me at foremanben@facebook.com. That's FOREMANBEN @facebook.com. Thank you.